Hi, this is Shannon from Voices of Defiance, a podcast member of the GonnaGeek network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com. And get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
You have been granted clearance by Director Phil Coulson. Stand by for S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Director.
And now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Agent Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Agent Haley.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Adam.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., a Marvel Comic Universe podcast. This is podcast number 82 on Marvel's film Ant-Man. This podcast is recorded on Sunday, July 19th, 2015. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the ABC television show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel's Agent Carter, Marvel's Daredevil on Netflix, and the general Marvel Comic Universe.
Because this guy told my cousin, who told my uncle, who told me that Ant-Man's a really fun movie.
If you'd like to talk to us about really fun movies, you can find all of our information on our website, legendsofshield.com. We have a voicemail line, 844-THE-BUS-1. That's 844-843-2871. You can check out our Facebook page, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Podcast. We have a Twitter account, @Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., Tumblr, legendsofshield.tumblr.com, and a YouTube channel, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. You can also find our forums at forums.GonnaGeek.com or by searching for GonnaGeek on the Tapatalk app.
This time on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we are going to be talking about Ant-Man. We also have the start of our Ant-Man Marvel Crate giveaway, and we'll be welcoming Adam to the podcast. So let's just start from the back and work our way up. Adam, welcome back to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Hey, good to talk to you guys again.
It's great having you on. He just loved us and loved Ant-Man so much that he just had to say, hey, guys, can I come on the podcast? We said, sure, why not? So, welcome on board, and thank you very much for your continued reviews on S.H.I.E.L.D. comics. That is awesome to hear them from week to week.
Oh, and one quick news thing from a couple weeks ago, when they do the big Marvel relaunch after Secret Wars, there's going to be a new writer on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., who is actually the executive producer on Arrow.
Hey, Mark Guggenheim?
Yeah.
Nice.
Crossing the streams all over the place. I wonder if Mark's just not satisfied with DC, especially after they took away Suicide Squad and stuff from him.
Well, Mark's done a lot of work for Marvel before. He wrote Young X-Men. He's written a bunch of stuff.
And his wife is one of the showrunners on Agent Carter and will be writing Captain Marvel.
Nice.
Oh, I did not realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that. Welcome to the podcast, as I said before. And we have another giveaway. I said this was going to be the summer of giveaways. This is our second giveaway. We'll have more later on. But we have an extra. We have an anonymously donated Ant-Man Marvel Crate. Now, this has a lot of great stuff in it. I'll be posting pictures online because I got one too for me. And there was an anonymous donor that kicked in and said, hey, I want you to give this away for the podcast. So it's got the same sorts of stuff. We're talking
Little Funko figures.
Yeah, you got one too, Haley, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So lots of that comic, t-shirt. It's all good stuff. So in order to get this, you have to do something to enter in the contest, don't you, Lauren?
Yes, you have to actually dance around with your pants on your head and send us... No.
That's what I do every week for the podcast.
Exactly. What you need to do is you need to call in to us at 844-THE-BUS-1, and you need to give us a funny review of Ant-Man. Just, you know us, you know our sense of humor, make us laugh.
So that means you actually have to go out and see the movie, and then you have to give a review of the movie to us, which we will play, and we will, of course, decide, and really, guys, let's be honest, it's the ladies who gets to decide who the winner is. So
this is true, because we are the ones who are always right.
Yes. We have the power.
And I'm either objectively or subjectively wrong, yes. So
not as wrong as Wing.
Thank you. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. So July 29th, we will be doing a live podcast on Daredevil, and that is when we are going to announce the winner. So there you go.
August 29th, right?
August 29th. You're right. I am wrong. See? I'm wrong. It happens all the time. So it's not the August 29th. It's August 26th. I pulled up the wrong month on my calendar on my computer. That's what happened. So,
yeah, because July 29th is next week, and that's not nearly enough time.
No. So August 26th, get your reviews in. Make them funny. The funnier they are, the more you can appease the women, the larger your chances of winning are. So have fun with that. Now, on to Ant-Man. When did you guys see the movie, Adam?
Friday afternoon.
After work, you went out and go catch it?
Actually, I'm on a new schedule at work now, so I get every other Friday off, and it fell this week.
Oh, nice. Some like compressed work schedule or something like that?
It's complicated, and I'm not really a fan of it, but it'll probably work out eventually.
Okay. Haley, when did you get to see it?
Last night. Late last night.
Late, like the midnight showing?
10 o'clock showing, but yeah.
Ooh, after your long, hard day, right?
Yes.
We might get to that later. Haley had a little extracurricular activity yesterday. It was kind of fun. And Lauren, when did you get to go see it?
I saw it last night as well, 9:30 show. I had company, so yeah, I had, we did some schedule shuffling, and then we all went as a group to see it last night and had a great time.
So I was visiting the remains of the Triskelion, and I returned Friday afternoon, and I was just so tired. I literally went straight to bed, and I saw it at 11 o'clock, the 11 a.m. showing on Saturday, which was kind of fun because it was a packed theater for 11 o'clock. I was kind of shocked. It was very eventful. There was a lot of crowd interaction, which even more so than Avengers, which I was kind of pleased about. So what kind of trailers did you guys get?
Star Wars.
Was that the only one?
Batman versus Superman.
I didn't get that
the
one.
Comic-Con one.
Okay, do you see? Okay, who saw it normal? Who saw it 3D?
Normal.
Normal. Okay.
So nobody saw it in IMAX. Nobody saw it in 3D.
No. What else did I get? I got Everest, and there was another one that looked terrible. I can't remember.
I really want to see Everest, though, because it's about the 1996 climbing disaster, and that is like fascinating to me. For some reason, I am absolutely fascinated by the psychology of people who climb Mount Everest.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, one summer I did nothing but read books on mountain climbing and the people who survived disasters climbing Mount Everest and the K2.
Nice.
Oh, what was it? The new Chris Pine one, The Finest Hours or something like that?
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, that and the Goosebumps one.
Yep.
Yeah, the Goosebumps one looks kind of terrible.
I got the Supergirl trailer.
Yes, I did get that.
Yep.
In the little pre-movie show thing.
The new season of Rick and Morty.
Yep. I got Rick and Morty. I got the Supergirl thing. I got like 3 Mission Impossible ones. Like there was like a commercial for it, like a BMW commercial or whatever. Then there was the Mission Impossible stunt thing. And then the last trailer before the movie started was Mission Impossible.
See, I got Fantastic Four as the last one before the movie started.
Ah, okay.
I didn't get Fantastic Four. I didn't get Mission Impossible. I didn't get that many.
I didn't get Mission Impossible.
The Star Wars trailer still got cheers. Everybody was pumped up throughout the thing. It was great. And the Batman versus Superman, it was crickets afterwards.
During the Star Wars one, there was a guy behind me that went, Star Wars? Like he didn't know that there was a new Star Wars movie coming out.
Oh my God.
What, did he live in a mansion in South Carolina, was it, SP?
I gotta say, this is another I know going to the movies, it's expensive and everything, but I love crowd experiences. Like, one of my favorite things about this movie was whenever they'd have, in some of the quieter moments, the audience reactions of people. It was pretty fantastic hearing, like, what part was it? There was some part later in the movie, about maybe midway to 2/3 of the movie, something happened. And somebody, I guess, the row behind me and about 2 people down went, oh, snap!
Was it the Falcon
fantastic.
Versus Ant-Man fight?
No, I think it was when,
we'll get to it later.
Yeah.
But I saw the Fantastic Four trailer. Did anybody else see that?
Yes.
Nope.
I'm trying to... I don't remember whether I saw it then or saw it on YouTube earlier in the day.
Oh, okay. Well, it was all right. It was okay. It was probably the best trailer for it that I've seen, but...
I'm still not enthused, but I mean, I'm gonna see it.
Yeah. We're gonna see it.
I've never been the hugest Fantastic Four fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I like a lot of the actors that are in it, but when is it scheduled to release? Does anybody know?
August 7th.
August 7th. So we might actually be doing a podcast on it in between when we finish Daredevil and when the season starts, but I don't know. We'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll see. It's not currently on the schedule. Haley has not placed it on the schedule. Haley, of course, she really
always
drives...
in motion the future is.
Yes. She really drives the bus here. She determines what we do and what we don't do, so...
She drives the bus, she fixes the bus, she crashes the bus.
Mm-hmm.
One time. Jeez.
She designs the new bus.
I said fixes it, too.
Okay.
All right. So lots of good trailers. I actually enjoy trailers. It's one of the main things. I make sure I get to the theater on time. A lot of people are like, I don't care when the movie starts. It'll be half an hour before the movie actually starts, which is true, by the way. But
right.
I like seeing all the trailers.
Trailers are
the theater I go to, I love them because they're dirt cheap. I paid $3.50 for my ticket. But
nice.
I know. I'm that awesome. But they don't turn the lights down until right before the feature starts. So the lights are up still when they play the trailers.
Oh. The lights were off the entire time for me. It was kind of weird because I walk in and usually, when those TV commercials and stuff are playing, the lights are usually on. And
they're kind of dimmed.
It was completely dark. Matter of fact, the lights didn't come up until well after the shawarma scene. So that was kind of cool.
Speaking of which, I did make a tweet about that. We got there about an hour early because we didn't know what the crowd was going to be like. It's cool. We got to be the first ones in line, and then the line formed behind us. So there was, a lot of people waiting. And then we're looking at the theater that we're going to be let into. And the first small trickle of people comes out. We're like, the movie's just ended. Wait a couple minutes. Big group of people comes out. And we're like, and these are the people who left mid-credits.
Yeah.
Wait a couple more minutes. Yeah. And then the big crowd of people comes out and we're like, and these are the true Marvel fans. And then we ran into some friends of ours who did not invite us to go see the movie.
So I actually had some kind of jerks sit down next to me as I was right before the movie started. It bugged the crap out of me. They came in late. They decided to sit next to me. And granted, they were one of the few seats that were left, but it was one of those cases where it was a personal space issue, basically. And I was like, okay, finally. So after the movie ended, they just got up and left. And I was like, I'm not even going to say anything. Because usually I'm like, hey, there might be something later you might want to see. But in this case, I was like, go, get. I don't want you around anymore. But that was kind of fun. So, Haley Atwell.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I had heard that. I was wondering if it would just be the one scene or not.
Okay,
yeah.
That scene was hilarious because you had Haley Atwell in old makeup, Michael Douglas in young makeup, and then John Slattery playing Dominic Cooper as older.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or as I called him, Disney Howard Stark.
Yes.
That was great to have him back. And Haley Atwell was older. And I'm not sure, but I think they did the same kind of young CGI on, that they did with, what's his name, Jeff Bridges with Tron, except for this looked better.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about this. We were talking about this last night.
So usually it's the lips are what look off when they do these things, and that's how you can tell it's fake. On this, something about his cheeks wasn't moving right or something. It was distracting to me.
Well, we were talking about it, and we were like, when he walked out, I'm like, oh my God, it's Wall Street Michael Douglas. And we were talking about how much better the technology in that de-aging and aging CGI has gotten in the past few years. Like, you go back, you look at X3 and Magneto and Professor X when they're trying to de-age them, and they just look weirdly shiny.
Yeah.
And you go back and you look at Jeff Bridges, and you're like, oh, it's all right, but you can still tell there's something weird. And here you're just like, oh, okay.
It was
and then,
good.
if you're looking for it, you'll see it. But if you're just kind of...
When he was just standing there, it was fine. But it was when he was talking, something about his face was not moving right.
Yeah.
I think it was the high cheeks.
Yeah.
For a couple seconds there, I thought the third S.H.I.E.L.D. guy that Hank went in to talk to was Alexander Pierce. But then I realized. But either way, I figured it was going to be the person in that group who was from Hydra. Yeah.
Right. You knew that was coming.
Yeah. Who didn't see that coming? Everyone, raise your hand. No one? No one?
Okay, I could not for the life of me remember that guy's name. Saw the movie twice. Couldn't figure the guy's name out until I went through IMDb.
Yeah.
Martin Donovan? The
Mitchell
actor
Carson.
or...
Oh, no, the character.
Okay.
Yeah, what's his name? I didn't catch
Mitchell
it.
Carson.
Mitchell Carson.
Yeah. I was sort of the same way with Scott's friends, really.
Yeah.
And what are their names? Is anybody?
Luis, Russian Dude, and T.I.
Russian
The black guy was Dave, I think he said.
Okay.
It was T.I.
It was T.I.
Yeah, T.I.
Yeah, I'm going to keep with mine. Luis, Russian Dude, and T.I.
Yep.
I believe the Russian dude was Kurt, but I'm not sure.
That's right.
But I cheated. I had the IMDb page up, so there we go. Baskin Robbins always finds out, though.
I like that that's a known thing among former cons. Like, man, Baskin Robbins, they're going to find out.
Yeah, where do you think some of the S.H.I.E.L.D. people went?
You know, if Radio Shacks are all owned by Hydra, are Baskin Robbins all owned by S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Mhm.
Yes. Headcanon accepted.
Okay.
In that case, they should have had one of the Koenigs as the manager.
Oh, that'd be cool.
He's the district manager, or the,
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah,
The regional manager or whatever.
the regional manager. Thank you.
You are fired, but respect. Respect.
Totally off the books.
Just anybody who has ever worked a customer service job was Scott Lang at that moment.
Exactly. Hey, take care of this idiot. I mean, you're in a Baskin Robbins. Yeah. Anything hot? Really?
No. Just no.
Like, look at the menu. What do you see up there that looks hot?
The only hot thing at Baskin Robbins is the caramel and the hot sauce,
Hot fudge.
fudge sauce stuff,
Yum.
chocolate.
I thought you were going to say you when you went in.
Well, yeah, I guess if you need to cool down with ice cream, it's a hot day.
Right. Okay. So Dr. Pym is still alive. You know, what is this? 25 years later. And he fought in World War II. So the dude is old.
Well, yes, actually, I was going to bring this up. I think I brought it up a few months ago, actually, when there was a 2-issue prequel comic that came out from Marvel. And it had Peggy Carter, it had Howard Stark. And I remember at the time, I think we were guessing about how Hank Pym was going to be connected to Age of Ultron, that they were going to have found some of his designs, and it had nothing to do with anything. But it was about Hank Pym briefly joining S.H.I.E.L.D. at Peggy Carter's behest and becoming the first Ant-Man. And his adventures, and I think that might have been where he got the tank in the comic.
Yeah,
I need to go back and reread. It's been months.
Yeah, that would make sense. Or one of those clips that Cross showed.
Right. So how many people from the beginning knew that the tank was going to be a real thing at the end of the movie?
Hello? Yes, obviously.
I didn't put it together. I honestly
Neither did I until he said
How could you not?
I don't know. I was just it's cool. It's a tank keychain. I was thinking my co-host on Voices of Defiance and GonnaGeek podcaster, Sean, he loves tanks. And I was just thinking, oh, that'd be something cool to get Sean. I never thought it was going to be a real tank.
I'm watching it, I'm like, see, that's exactly the kind of jackass thing I would do. Is oh, haha, shrink down an enemy like a Soviet tank or something, keep it.
It was great because when it actually enlarged, the entire keychain enlarged.
Yes,
it wasn't just
they're
a tank.
well, they didn't have time to snap off the keychain. Come on, it's Chekhov's tank keychain. They did close-ups on it 3 times.
I know. I just thought it was cool. Right at the beginning when he's going into Pym, what is it called? Pym Technologies or something like that. So he's going through security there on the table when Scott is robbing the place to begin with. And then a couple of times later, and it wasn't until the very end when he said, that wasn't a tank. I was like, oh, yeah. And the whole audience, they were like, yeah, because they all figured out what was going on.
Yeah, I think that might have been the, oh, snap moment from behind me.
Yeah, that would make sense.
It was sometime around there. It was either there or when they were like, hey, we're Hydra. It was one of those 2 moments, but the guy a couple rows behind me was really into it. It was great.
I don't want to steal all of Haley lines because Haley, she's a quote maniac, right? But from the beginning, you knew that this was going to be great because they asked him, Hank Pym, how's retirement? And he goes, how's your face?
Well, it was the guy that he punched in the flashback scene.
I know.
Yeah, you know they're holding grudges. You know it.
Just yeah. Well, Hank, hold a grudge? No.
Oh,
never.
no. And okay, there are so many things that I really liked about this movie. I liked just little character things. Hope Van Dyne's haircut, because it is callback to Janet Van Dyne as the Wasp. I really like that. They don't make it so the audience has to guess this is why he doesn't want Hope to be the one wearing the suit and going in. They actually say, no, this is why. I like that they bring in Cassie, because even though we don't see her be a superhero in this, we see, she's a little bit weird and she idolizes her dad. And hey, in the future, that might lead to some weird stuff like her stealing Pym particles and becoming a superhero.
Are you going to go catch my daddy? Well, yeah. I hope you don't.
I've seen that guy's penis.
What?
Bobby Cannavale. He's in Carnival in season 2, and there's this one part where he's really into autoerotic. Well, not autoerotic because he gets a hooker to do it. Asphyxiation. And so he runs down a hallway naked with a belt around his throat. And so now every time, because he's been in a lot of family-friendly movies lately, so every time I see him, I just think, I've seen that guy's penis.
So, Haley, what did you like about the movie specifically?
There were a lot of little funny bits. You know, Luis telling stories, details, and the wrong details. Those were always funny.
Yeah.
I love okay, I don't know if any of y'all have ever watched Drunk History.
Mm-hmm.
No, I haven't, but
YouTube or
I've
Comic
seen
Central.
it. Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. I love it. But the way that they do it on that show, somebody will be telling a story and they'll have somebody else kind of performing to that dialogue track. And the way they do the performing to the dialogue track in that same sort of way, I loved that in his stories.
Yeah. I also liked Hope beating up Scott every time.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, then he actually ended up using one of those same moves later
He used
on.
the leg flippy thing.
And she looked so proud of him.
I don't think I've ever seen a guy do that move in a movie.
No.
No.
Well,
you're right.
No, actually, yes, I have, because...
Okay, maybe like a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not in like a mainstream
No.
superhero, and not anytime lately, not since like the 1980s.
I don't know.
I've seen a lot of female action heroes do it in the last 10 years. I have not
Yes.
seen a guy do it.
Yeah, going back to Black Widow in Iron Man 2 was probably the most memorable time. But I remember seeing it in martial artist sort of movies before that.
Okay, yeah. But they've made it such a traditionally feminine thing, the takedown with the legs and the sexy kill and stuff like that.
Nothing wrong with that. I'll go with it.
But this was a dude doing it, and it makes sense because legs are very strong muscles, and the femur is it has like the strength of concrete. Well, it's stronger than concrete, actually. And so, yeah, if you're going to kill somebody, I mean, kill them with your legs.
Yeah, or incapacitate him or something like that.
Well, for legal reasons, I should say, I do not condone this, but...
Were you aiming for the hand?
Yeah, I agree with Haley every time that she beat him up. It was pretty great.
It was funny. Adam, what's your most memorable part of the movie?
Well, probably the closest thing to an oh-snap moment with my crowd reaction was when they revealed that the Stark facility he was trying to break into wasn't just a Stark facility anymore. It was the new Avengers headquarters.
Oh,
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
That fight scene was good too.
Yes.
Yep.
If he couldn't have been in the fight scene in Avengers, this was a good replacement. I mean, it was all right.
Maybe he was busy doing this. That's why he couldn't be there for Avengers.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. He was the one guy left behind,
Well, no, I meant the actor, but this obviously takes place after the events of the Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the dropping the city comment and
if you look at a bunch of the newspapers, it says like Avengers to blame for Sokovia.
Right, and Hank Pym mentioned it himself there, because Scott's like, let's call the Avengers. And he's like, no. And they're too busy dropping cities.
Yeah.
And he's not handing anything over to a Stark.
Yeah. I was hoping he'd mention Ultron there just since he was the one who created Ultron in the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of callbacks. Matter of fact, even when Pym Technologies or Cross Technology, whatever you want to call it, when it imploded, did you guys catch the reference to Agent Carter there?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Remember when the milk facility?
Well,
Was it a milk facility?
it was Roxxon Oil. It was one of their facilities. Yeah.
Yes.
Same thing. This stuff just doesn't go away. Keeps on coming around. It's pretty cool.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
It was. And this was connected even though it wasn't in your face, right? Because this kind of stands out on their own. Even the Avengers facility, they explain it to you. You don't have to have seen Avengers 2 to have made sense of this.
Yeah, the big A on the roof is kind of a giveaway.
Right. I wonder who he was talking to. Falcon.
maybe Rhodey.
Maria Hill, probably.
See, we were trying to figure. No, it was a man's voice
It was.
that he was talking
Oh,
to.
I didn't remember hearing the other voice.
No.
And I was trying
It was
to
a
figure it
Katie.
out, but it was only one sentence.
It was probably Katie. You're right.
That would be great.
Oh, and then the Carbondale safe made of the same steel as Titanic. It killed everyone.
Yeah, okay. I loved that they pointed that out because that is actually a thing of the particular type of steel that they used, and because the cold, it was postulated or something like that because of the cold, it made it more susceptible to the rip of the iceberg. Or, I don't know as much about like structural engineering as other people on this cast might, but I do remember reading something about that. That the temperature of the water, of the salt water, might have made it more brittle.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, that was one of the only two gags where I actually found his friends funny, was when they were going on about the movie in there.
I mostly found them annoying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, over the top, definitely.
Also, they seem like characters we've seen in a lot of other movies.
Yeah, it was, it's a heist movie. Of course, it wasn't just a heist, but it was a heist movie, but it wasn't Ocean's 13, right? You didn't have this large team with an elaborate plan. You did have an elaborate plan, I guess.
And you did have a large team if you count all the ants individually.
I guess. Okay, argument false. You didn't have a large human team. I mean, you did have Anthony and all his friends.
Anthony.
Until the end.
Get it, Anthony.
Until the end.
Yeah.
Too soon, bro. Too soon.
So, okay. I said last night I was going to be geeking out about the entomology in this movie. So where do you want me to start?
So you put your foot on the thorax, and then how do you mount an ant? How is that?
Get on the damn ant.
Yeah, get on the damn ant. So one thing that has been pointed out in some of the biology articles about the movie that I've read, unfortunately, there's two types of ants that are able to fly. It's unmated queens and male drones. And unfortunately, both of their wings are purposefully made to be disposable.
Yep.
The male drones, they die pretty immediately after mating, and the females chew their own wings off. So really and I was asking about this after the movie, my friends were like, we don't know, shut up, because they are not biology people. Okay, do you think that Ant-Man can only control ants, or is it all Hymenoptera, or is it just eusocial Hymenoptera, or just eusocial insects, or just anything eusocial, and he can also control mole rats, or what? Because termites and bees are also eusocial orders of Hymenoptera, and if you're going to ride something, you'd be much better off riding something like a bee or a wasp or a yellow jacket. Something that's actually made to fly for extended periods of time. And it's also a bit better defended.
In my comic reading expertise so far, when he was Ant-Man, he could only control ants. When he became Yellow Jacket, he started talking to wasps too.
The way I was thinking about it is ants are more like the Marines of insects, because they do everything, right? They're on the ground.
Well, see, so most Hymenoptera, lots of eusocial Hymenoptera are like termites. They're capable of building these huge, you see a termite mound, and they're capable of doing stuff like that. And then you have...
Can termites fly, though?
Yes. Well, some, again, queens and drones. But then you have certain types of bees, and they're also capable of building and stuff. I've seen bees referred to as the original 3D printers because they could just fill a space with wax.
All right.
So you can, if you wanted to make a 3D model of something, if you put bees inside the space, they'll make, you can make a little honeycomb thing inside of it.
I was thinking it might be a size thing, too. Termites are small and bees are big.
No, termites can be pretty big.
Oh, you're scaring me now. I don't want to know this.
But ants can also be, velvet ants aren't technically ants. They're a type of wasp, but they do look like ants because they're both Hymenoptera.
Yeah, I took it from this. If I was coming into this movie and didn't know anything else from the comics or anything, I'd say he can only control ants.
Okay, so if that's the case, the ants that they use, I thought were really great choices. Fire ants are capable of those structures like that. I'd say that army ants might be the better choices, but they're from South America and kind of harder to get. You really wouldn't want them getting loose inside the U.S. because invasive species are terrifying.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
But anybody who's ever gone out in the southern U.S. into a flood has probably been, if not bitten, scared of being bitten by a floating ball of fire ants.
Yes.
That happened to my dad. The crazy ants.
Yeah.
Crazy ants. Okay. These used to be known as crazy raspberry ants, RASBERRY, named after their discoverer. They're now known as tawny crazy ants. And they don't conduct electricity, but they are attracted to it. We actually got an influx in them here in Houston a couple years ago, right after Hurricane Ike. And they do have a tendency to go after electricity. Some of them got into my husband's computer.
Ugh.
And they were getting into people's electricity boxes and chewing through their wires and things like that.
Wow.
And bullet ants, yes, they are extremely painful. You can go online and find all these videos of people using them. There's actually a rite of manhood in, I forget which Amazonian tribe, but they smoke the ants so that they're unconscious, and they weave them into these little wicker oven mitt looking things, and then they put their hands in them so the ants are biting them. And they have to do this for a total of, I forget if it's 8 or 24 hours straight.
Ow.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah.
I'll be the woman in the tribe. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's excruciating. And what other, carpenter ants. We get those a lot around here too. They're pretty cool.
The bane of any homeowner.
Yeah. I do wish they had addressed the fact that most ants that you will meet are female. Well, they're sterile females.
Really?
Yes, actually, most eusocial animals like bees, termites, naked mole rats, and ants. The ones that you'll see out and about doing all the work are sterile females. The males are only used for mating, and then there's a central queen. Or in some cases, several queens in longer-lived colonies.
See, I thought most of the worker drones and stuff were actually males, but you're saying they're neutered females, basically.
Yes, yeah. They're incapable of breeding, and they are essentially clones.
Now, can they morph if necessary?
No, though when they're young, I believe that what they grow up to be, worker, soldier, or potential queen, is determined by what they're fed, if I remember correctly.
So, Ant-Man, he's basically one of the few males in the ant families around him.
Yes, and actually I did read a science article talking about that. And probably the way that they kind of get around that is, like they said, that thing that he's using, that neural connection. Ants communicate by scent. And if you want interesting experiments with that, if you see a line of ants, you draw a line through them and just watch them freak out until they find their way around it and reconnect. And bees, interestingly enough, communicate by dance. But with ants, it's all through scent and pheromones. So what Hank Pym explained was that he was stimulating the olfactory centers of their tiny little ant brains or their receptors or whatever. So he's making them think that he is giving them directions. So it's not so much that he's making them think he's their queen or whatever, because the queen doesn't actually control any of the hive. All the queen does is reproduce. All the queen does is just make more of the hive. She has nothing to do with anything beyond that portion of the survival of the hive. And choosing where the hive will be when she initially lands after she's mated. And what's really done is the workers are the backbone of the hive, and they're the ones that find the food. They're the ones that dig the hive. And something that I really liked was, except for that one scene where you see which ants are which when they're in the traditional farm, the flattened thing, the proper way to keep ants is in little, like, interconnected bubbles, because that's ants like to build 3D.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I really love entomology, and I really, really love ants and bees, so I could talk about them for hours, so somebody please stop me if I'm,
Well, I for one have to say that was a lot scarier a second ago.
Okay, so in this they explain how the shrinking works and what is happening. They're changing the distance between the atoms while increasing density and strength.
Shouldn't that have made that tank keychain really painful?
Yeah. Mass should not be changing. So the ant shouldn't be able to carry Ant-Man, and Hank Pym should not be able to carry that keychain around.
No. That bugged me.
Bugged. Ha ha
ha. Technically, ants are not bugs. Bugs are related sort of to beetles there. Anyway, if you see a bug if you see an insect that looks kind of like a beetle, but it has what looks like an X on its back, that is a true bug.
Okay. Well, in this movie, Hope has the mom death that we never actually see or hear from again, like we should have in Iron Man. So with Janet, and of course, Janet's the way this movie portrayed it is Janet's not dead. She's just stuck in that subatomical.
So if they find a way to bring her back,
they gotta find her first.
Yeah.
Because she crashed with a missile over the ocean 27 years ago or whatever.
And one thing I noticed was that they never actually showed her face. She was in the suit in the flashback. And then the one time we saw a picture.
It's very clearly Evangeline Lilly's chin underneath that.
Yeah. So casting would still be wide open, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, Michael Douglas wants Catherine Zeta-Jones for the role.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Well, speaking of the quantum realm that she's probably lost in, who was it that called in a couple weeks ago and said, hey, maybe this means we'll see the Micronauts?
I don't remember.
So I was looking at a list of Ant-Man Easter eggs and Marvel references. And the Micronauts are from the Microverse, which is what it's called in the comics, the quantum realm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we could be going there.
Okay, if he shrinks to subatomic size, what is he made of?
Magic. Well, actually, no.
Magic.
We do know that they're saying that this has very important ramifications for Phase 3 of Marvel. And what do we know about the next, well, other than Civil War, the movie after Civil War, it's Doctor Strange. How are they going to tie it all in with this? Well, we know that Thor says that what appears to us as magic is really science. So is the magic of the Marvel Universe somehow related to the quantum realm? Or is it going to be, like some people have guessed, a way to travel in space? what are we going to get? I'm looking forward to finding out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I'm guessing magic.
So at the end, when he fixes the regulator to bring him back to regular size, and then he said he didn't remember. Do you think he honestly doesn't remember, or do you think he's withholding information from Hank?
It could go either way.
Yeah.
It really could.
Yeah. Though I did wonder if swapping out the size thing in the regulator might result in him being giant, coming back bigger than he was before.
Exactly. I saw that and I'm like, oh, is this how we're getting Giant Man?
That's okay, because Giant Man's lamer than Ant-Man. We don't need that.
Well,
I said it.
whatever those things were that makes things bigger, it was blue, like the little blue pill.
Yes. It's like not opposite PEM particles, but
Right.
PEM particles that make you bigger.
So PEM particles can be red and yellow. Is that how that works?
And blue, apparently.
Yeah, okay.
All the primary colors. We were joking yesterday, me and my friend who went to see it, my husband, that really they're all colorless, but they just put food dye in it so they'll know which is which.
That would
sense.
kind of make sense.
What color was Cal's formula? It was blue, right?
Green?
Ooh.
No.
Yeah, I think it was green.
I seem to remember blue. Where am I remembering blue? A little blue vial.
That would be from the Kree blood.
Yeah.
Stuff from what?
The Kree blood.
No, it was something
It was
different.
the GH something, whatever the number was.
325? GH
Yeah.
325?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I remember that, but I can't remember a name. Go figure.
It happens.
I ruined the moment, didn't I?
Yeah, you kind of did. Kind of.
Sorry.
I love that.
It's lots of good stuff. I liked it. It was okay.
It was
yeah,
okay. I'll give it a resounding okay.
I really liked it. I honestly liked it more than Age of Ultron.
So I'm guessing,
Like a lot
Haley,
more.
that this would fall in your bottom third of Marvel movies if you had to choose at
Yes.
the moment? Above Hulk or below Hulk?
Right around Hulk.
All right. I think it was better than that.
I don't know. It didn't feel like I could see that they had lost a bunch of their creative people early on and changed stuff around, and it didn't feel very cohesive.
Okay. I'll run with that.
I was also, and this isn't liking or disliking the movie, it's just disliking the character of Hank Pym like I always have.
Right.
He was being a
That's
moron.
fair.
Hope should have been in the suit from the beginning.
She should have. Absolutely.
Agreed.
Or at least he should have explained why.
Yes.
He
Well,
didn't
no, the
want her
reason
in
why
the
is he
suit.
didn't want to risk his daughter.
Yeah.
But that's not big picture thinking.
He should have let her know and let her make an informed choice, though.
Right.
Instead of just...
He's not letting her make her
No.
own decisions. Yeah.
And hasn't for decades, really. It's
Which is why they haven't been speaking.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Until
he
the world was in danger.
didn't tell her about her mom until
Mm-hmm.
he absolutely had to. Yeah. So I enjoyed the movie. It was entertaining for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the time of day. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it. I don't know. I have not looked at my list of 11, now 12 movies and go, okay, this is where Ant-Man belongs. I'll probably have to do that before we podcast next time because I haven't placed it anywhere. But Lauren, you were saying before we podcasted that you had revised your list?
Yes, I did. So Age of Ultron, I remember last time I had it higher up. Now it's currently number 9 in between Thor and Iron Man 2. And Ant-Man, right after just the first showing day after I've seen it, is currently number 6 in between either Iron Man or Guardians of the Galaxy because those two still kind of swap around for me. And Captain America, the First Avenger. I really liked Ant-Man. I really did.
So for you, it's around the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
All right. Adam, I know we don't have a list from you and we didn't ask for one before the podcast, but if you had to put your thumb on top fourth, bottom third, whatever, where would you throw this?
I'd say right around just below the halfway mark, I'd say.
Okay. Seems like everybody's pretty consistent. I don't think this is a top third, but I liked it about as much as I liked Guardians of the Galaxy last year.
I do have a friend that says that this is like his favorite right after Guardians of the Galaxy.
Does your friend like Guardians of the Galaxy as the number one?
No, he really likes Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay. All right.
You know, we haven't really talked all that much about the final fight in Cassie's room.
Yeah, we have not, which was fantastic.
So funny. People were laughing left and right in my theater.
I was dying. It was so great.
Yeah, I actually heard a couple weeks ago a theory that was in Cassie's room, and I was like, oh, that would be great. And kind of got worried when they crashed into that random family's pool, but then they did go all the way over to Cassie's house.
Yeah, that happened pretty quick for Yellow Jacket. Is that what he's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is in the comics, the identity that Hank Pym takes after the Ultron thing, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's like the first time he really snaps is when he becomes Yellow Jacket. That's another thing I didn't like about this movie is they used up that storyline, that name, in a way that was less interesting than what they did in the comics.
Right.
Well, one of the things I liked with Cross that kind of plays into that is when he was asking why Hank stopped treating him as his protege was that he saw too much of himself in Cross.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they also talked about how extended interaction with PEM particles warps your brain.
Yes.
So that happened to Cross pretty early, and Hank...
Well, he was also using his own weird version, which we all saw was horrible and horrifying and turned people into balut.
Yeah.
Right. How many times did they have to zoom in on that little lamb's face?
Oh my god, I was so upset.
So Richard in the chat said his favorite part of the movie was the Falcon fight and Wasp getting her costume. We have not gotten to the shawarma or the mid-credit scene yet. And then he said it was the middle of the list for me, but he goes on to say, as a father, I would do the same thing that Pym did, and that is probably in relation to not telling Hope about what happened to her mom.
Or not letting her get in the suit.
Okay, I'll go with that. So the whistling was It's a Small World was...
Yes.
Yeah, I cracked up then. I think I might have been the only one in the theater to catch that, though.
No, I laughed, but just like, oh my god.
I know. Especially,
but then again, it fit because...
It is a small world.
Well, that too. This guy seems like the kind of guy who would be like, oh, I'm so clever. Ha. I love Luis. He was like one of my favorite parts of the
Yeah.
Also, he is deceptively strong. He's like knocking people unconscious with a single punch.
Oh, yeah. He mentioned earlier in the movie, that guy at the beginning, Peachy. He's like, yeah, I'm the only one who knocked him out, though.
That's true.
And then Chekhov's punching. Come on.
Yeah.
That's very true.
But yes, last fight when they're throwing things around and things are getting embiggened. And we get the Thomas the Tank Engine. And the big ant, I loved it, but it bugged me. Because, again, more science nerdery here. There's a reason that insects don't grow that large. It's something called the cube squared law, I think. And because of the way that insects breathe and because of the way that their exoskeletons work, they would collapse and they would suffocate. Because ants, they don't breathe with normal lungs like us. It's called spiracles, which is basically holes that open to the outside all along their bodies, their abdomens.
This isn't a normal sized ant with the same density. It's the density of a little ant that's blown up big. So there should be...
But the density of oxygen
it's the same mass, though.
It's the same mass.
So actually, it's just a very not dense ant.
Right.
Yes, but at the same time, the density of oxygen, I mean, it still should not be able to breathe.
Okay. So the oxygen would probably weigh more than the ant itself at that size.
Well, no, it's just that it would not be able to get enough oxygen into its spiracles.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why would Cassie's parents let her keep it as a pet?
She loves gross stuff.
She does.
She probably asked very nicely. She's like, but Mom, I'm still having nightmares. And they're like, okay, you can keep the ant.
I'd have a nightmare with the ant around with those little clippers,
I have
the mouth.
always wanted a pet. Ever since I saw Honey, I Shrunk the Kid, I've always wanted a pet ant. And those are called mandibles. And I really wish they'd show how an ant actually eats with the actual other mouth parts, with the little tongue. When it's drinking water, I wanted them to show the little tongue coming out.
I really just don't want to see this anymore.
I love insects.
So did they keep the Thomas in their backyard as a playset too?
It was front yard.
It was the front yard.
I mean, did they move it to the backyard to keep as a playset for Cassie?
I mean, I would have.
I don't know. I had the impression that it was made smaller, but I could have been wrong about that.
Yeah, you do see that it was removed from their yard, but I don't know what happened to it. I'd like to hope that they just moved it around back so that now she's the most popular kid in school because she has a giant train and a toy and a pet ant.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Although we would invoke a lot of questions.
Well, I mean, we have robots and stuff now, so.
Yeah, that's true. But they all do bad things.
It seems like this is becoming the new normal.
Right.
And we have guys that swing, guys that crawl up walls.
Yeah. I think this is also going to lead towards Civil War next year. More of this sort of stuff is coming to light, and people are sick of the destruction that it's wrought and that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you notice, okay, are we going to talk about the end of credit scenes, or do we have anything?
Well, does anybody have anything they want to talk to you about before we get to the end credits?
So do you think those Hydra guys were part of Ward's group, or is there another Hydra faction out there still?
There's many heads, you know that.
There's
Yeah.
Hydra cells all over.
Okay, it reminds me of how the KKK is right now. They're constantly infighting and constantly forming new groups, and they're all just terrible.
But small, but yeah, terrible. Yeah.
And they're all the ones saying, no, we're the real ones. We're the real ones. And they're all terrible.
Yeah, because I had been thinking that Ward wouldn't have had that kind of financial resources to buy the Yellow Jacket suits at that point.
Well, that's a good point. And the only reason I'm going to say no is they didn't have a lead up for it. Unless there's a reference to it when the season 3 starts here in the fall, I will say no.
I think what Ward's trying to do at this point is get all these factions together under one person again. But right now, it's all kind of splintered out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Anything more about the movie before we get to the credits?
No.
Yeah, I got all my biology geeking out of the way. Or most of it, anyway.
Mid-credit scene. It's about damn time.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Oh, that reminds me. Because of the color scheme on that suit, the red, white, and kind of silvery white and blue. Okay, the color scheme on Falcon's suit was the Cap Falcon. In the comics, he's currently Captain America.
Yes. Yeah. Oh,
and it's
okay.
the same color scheme. I started I didn't shriek because that would be rude in a movie theater, but I was squealing and like pointing and jabbing the people next to me like, do you see? Do you see?
I didn't see it. I'll have to see it again sometime.
I did notice the more red in the costume.
No, it's red, white, and blue, and if you look at the wings especially, which Falcon just has terrible luck with those, because this is second time.
Who fixes them? Who makes them for him? I mean, he
Stark.
doesn't seem like he does it himself, so.
Yeah. We'll never tell Cap about this.
Never.
It is very important to me that Cap never finds out about this.
You know, he's got. Oh, there was a language. In the very beginning of the movie, there was a language callback.
Asshat.
Yes, language.
I said hat.
What? I said hat.
Yeah.
I've told you before, you can say that word. You just can't follow it with the word whole.
Oh, I liked her.
Oh, yeah. One other thing with language. One of the most memorable lines from the trailer was...
Not exactly the same take in the movie.
Yeah.
The one about let's rename the costume?
No.
I want you to break into a place and steal some stuff.
Yeah, right. Although they did not have that. Is it too late to rename the costume? I don't remember hearing that.
Is it too late to change the name?
Right.
Yeah, they didn't. That scene was cut, and so is the Sky Falcon's looking for you. Oh,
Yeah.
I know a guy. All right. So anyway, Hope with her suit. It is a new wasp suit.
yes.
Yes.
An actual one, not just a female version of the Ant-Man suit like it was in the flashback.
That's
With
true.
wings.
So that was pretty cool. And then the final scene
The
was
actual shawarma,
yes, actual shawarma. We got what we should have had.
which leaked on Tumblr,
Oh,
so
it
I
did?
did know it was coming,
Oh, well, I knew there
but
was
I
a
was
scene.
still happy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, you would have been happy. You
I will be happy,
You got to
yes.
see your boy Bucky.
I did. Yep. Bucky, Cap, and Falcon.
You know there's some weird fan fiction out there already about Falcon and Cap having Bucky chained up down in the basement.
Well, yes. I mean, it's inevitable.
Lots and lots.
Yeah, and Bucky's wearing like a sweater and mouthing "Help me."
Yeah, and this must be at least a little bit of the way into Civil War
Yes.
because Cap mentioned something.
Yeah, they say they can't ask Tony because of the Accords. I wanted to know y'all's opinion on that.
And they also said this would have been a lot easier 1 week ago.
Yes.
So it's got to be 1 week into the Civil War movie, at least.
Or is it like 1 week after some sort of legal event that means what me and my friend and my husband were wondering is if it's something like after Sokovia, if they're like, okay, these original Avengers can't work together. Tony Stark can't work with them because of the Ultron thing. Bruce Banner can't work with them because of the Ultron thing. But Cap and Falcon and the people who had nothing to do with it can work together because they're vetted and willing to work with oversight. So they need Tony's help, but they can't do it in like an above ground way.
Yeah.
That's okay. Purely speculation, but it makes like sense because Tony isn't going to play well with others' oversight.
Never does.
Which is kind of interesting since at least in the comics for the Civil War story, he was the one trying to get the oversight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Well, I think both scenes were pretty cool. It forwarded the universe as it stands, and it forwarded the Ant-Man story as well. So I think that was pretty cool. So, Adam, you got any final thoughts on Ant-Man 2015?
Not really. We covered all of my notes.
All right. Haley, you got any spears you want to throw?
Are you ready for quotes?
Yeah, let's do the quotes.
Okay. I don't have a whole lot of them for this one.
Okay.
Okay. If only you had protected Janet with such ferocity, Dr. Pym.
Oh, yeah.
Ouch.
Well, you said it.
Yeah.
Baskin Roberts always finds out.
Right.
Your fiance is an asshat.
Language.
I said hat.
Get on the damn ant, Scott.
That reminds me, I don't know if anyone here is a fan of this anime called Neon Genesis Evangelion.
I know.
Okay, well, if any of the listeners are, they'll know what I'm talking about. For those of you who aren't, the main character is this 13-year-old boy who is capable of fighting in this giant robot thing. But he doesn't want to because he has parent issues and blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of a meme. It's like, get in the fracking robot, Shinji. And that's what that reminded me of.
Well, the whole breakout scene when the ants were on the floor and they were making the numbers, that was pretty cute.
That I loved.
Yeah.
He got in that suit fast.
He did.
Yes!
It was like 4 seconds. I'm like, I can't even do that.
And the yellow jacket thing, too. He turns around, he turns back, he's in the suit. And it took them like an hour to squeeze him, an hour and a lot of baby powder to squeeze him into that suit.
True. Yeah.
All right, last one. I'm in the system.
I love Luis.
Don't whistle. This isn't an Andy Griffith show.
I really love Luis.
Yeah, it was okay. I can see everybody's point. They weren't really skilled people. They were skilled, but they weren't like top of the line skilled. So, Lauren, any last thoughts?
I thought this was a really fun movie. And I think it's a good answer to a lot of, I think Age of Ultron was a little bit darker for Marvel. And I think that this was a good answer to that.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It was the light summer movie like they have been doing. They did it last year with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly. And I really like that. And I think that next year it's going to be, we're going to have Cap as the darker, serious movie. And then we're going to have Doctor Strange as hopefully the kind of lighter, weird movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. I liked the banter. I liked the heist feeling of it. I really liked Evangeline Lilly in it. I really liked the little girl that played Cassie.
Yeah.
I know that the CGI on the ants wasn't as good as it could have been, but I really like ants.
After seeing some really horrible CGI lately on Voices of Defiance, we watched a Defiance episode a couple of weeks ago. We were like, I can't believe they even let that out, sort of thing. And it's like, I hate to say anything bad about it because the CGI on that show actually has, other than a couple of scenes in the pilot, has been really good. And this was just like, ugh. And it's probably
ran out of money.
I think it's time because they didn't green light the season 3 until really, really late. So they filmed late and everything. And by the time it got to CGI, they didn't have enough time. I think that's what happened, but I don't know. We'll have to talk to somebody.
Possibly.
Yeah. And I love Paul Rudd, Immortal Vampire. And so there's this, if y'all find this on YouTube or teamcoco.com, Paul Rudd has been trolling Conan O'Brien for about 15 years now, where every time he comes on the show, he'll set up the clip and then he'll show, and I'm pretty sure it's the same exact clip from this movie from the 1980s. It's a blatant, horrible E.T. ripoff called Mac and Me.
Oh, I think I saw that once.
It's terrible. And I am somebody who likes bad movies.
I know.
And the alien looks like a fried turd with a surprised expression.
Oh, yeah, I remember this now. You're bringing it back.
So he does this, and he tells this past week when he was on Conan, he's like, look, I'm so upset that I can't do this, but it's a Marvel movie, and the studio will kill me if I... So they set up the scene, they start showing it, and I'm just going to let y'all find it on Team Coco or YouTube. Just look up Paul Rudd, Conan O'Brien, Ant-Man. Just go. It's wonderful.
Just go do it. Yeah.
Just go. Do it.
All right. I can't wait to see Civil War next year, and I will come back with a more defined resolution of my 12 movies and list them in order next time. So we'll be going through that. But we have a little bit of news we will go through here, and then we'll walk it out early this week. All right. Haley, you have scraped together some information about box office numbers.
Right. So we're recording this on Sunday afternoon. So the box office numbers for the weekend and everything aren't finalized yet. But right now, the estimate is that it's going to do 58 million domestic this weekend and 114.4 million worldwide, which makes it the second lowest Marvel opening weekend.
Behind.
Yeah, it's just ahead of Incredible Hulk.
Okay.
Behind everything else.
I'm wondering what the fall off is going to be for week 2 because
it's not getting great reviews.
Yeah, okay. So what kind of reviews is it getting like on Rotten Tomatoes? What are we talking about there?
It's at 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, which for them still gives it certified fresh. But everyone seems to be kind of like, it's okay.
See, that's weird because I've been seeing like really positive reviews. Like everyone that I know who's seen it has generally liked it. And
audience score is 92% liked it. And it's got a 4.2 out of 5 on their rating system. It's a 6.8 out of 10 at Rotten Tomatoes.
I wonder if part of it is because they brought in as the cameo a secondary character, what is now anyway a secondary character with Falcon, and not one of the primes. Like you didn't see Iron Man, you didn't see Hulk, you didn't see, one of the original Avengers at all.
I think it's probably because Ant-Man had been getting kind of bad press before. I wonder if that's...
Could be.
Because of all the production stuff.
All the production problems, yeah.
Well, still, that's kind of amazing to me that they were able to predict right around what they actually got.
Right. The original forecast was 60 million, and now their estimate based on Friday and Saturday numbers that they're seeing is 58 million.
That's not bad prediction. I mean, that's pretty good. I wonder how they get that. That's interesting. Huh. Well, does anybody else have any news of note to bring forward?
Not for me.
All right. You're getting all set for the next S.H.I.E.L.D. episode to come out, right? Or S.H.I.E.L.D. issue to come out?
Yeah, I believe that's the 29th.
All right. Well, look forward to hearing from you after that. So, and by the way, if you want to give us feedback, in addition to the contest that's running on a funny review of Ant-Man, you can go ahead and contact us on any of the means. Our voicemail number, 844-THE-BUS-1 or 844-843-2871. You can check us out on our YouTube page, Facebook page, Twitter. You can go ahead, get a hold of us any of those ways. You can email me, stargatepioneer@GonnaGeek.com. I'll make sure that these ladies get the emails, as I always do, right, ladies?
Yep.
Right.
And we can do that. So we will be coming back to you next on Wednesday, July 29th with our next episode of Daredevil. We will have a very special guest in studio for that, as always, as we continue our march throughout the rest of the summer, and that will be great. All right. Thank you, everyone that showed up in the chat room. Richard was reading your comments. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you to everybody that interacts with us on Twitter. I've been getting a lot of news stories from Mr. Pericles, Richard, Operator. Thank you guys very much. We'll be discussing those next time around. We wanted this to be more of an Ant-Man-centric episode, so we limited our news stories and stuff just to Ant-Man. So we'll be coming back at you next week with all that. So thank you very much.
And thank you to everybody who interacts with us on Facebook. I think we've had some more likes there lately.
Yes, we did. We've had quite a few every week. It's been great seeing that. And you are going to continue on your watch of Daredevil probably next week. Is that right?
Do the live tweeting.
Yeah.
I think somebody else is going to have to take over for me. I have some friends from out of town, and then I'm actually going to be out of town. So,
well, are you free this Tuesday at the 21st?
Oh, it's this Tuesday I'm going to be with my friends out of town. Next week I will be.
Okay.
Okay, so I need to actually check a calendar.
So you can live tweet the episode on the 28th of July.
Yes.
Okay. So you can catch Lauren live tweeting on our Twitter account. That's Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. The next episode of Daredevil, which is, I believe, episode 8, Shadows in the Glass. So anything else, Ellie?
I don't think so.
All right. Hey, Adam, thank you very much for joining us. It was a good thing to have you on today.
Yeah, I'm glad to stop by.
Okay. Anytime, Adam. All right. Until next week, I'm Agent Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Agent Haley.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Adam.
Bye. See you guys.
Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to GonnaGeek.com and you will find all of our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual host and do not represent Legends, Stream, or GonnaGeek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation. No infringement is intended.
Yeah, speaking of Blu-rays, I did get the Days of Future Past Rogue cut, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
It's out? I
Me
thought it was
too.
out next week.
No, it was out this week.
Okay, I need to...
Yeah,
need to
I
go
have it too.
look
I
at
haven't
that.
watched it yet. It's probably going to be tonight after G.
Yeah,
I
but
swear
Target
I
was-
pre-ordered that thing.
Yeah, Target was sold out of the Blu-rays, so I ended up having to go to Best Buy.
We have an anonymous liger in the dock.
Yeah, that would be Adam.
I think that's the coolest anonymous animal we've ever had.
I know. I think Wing was that for about 5 seconds, something like that once, as he was going in and out to see what animal he could be. Oh, and Adam signed in. Bummer.
I miss the liger.
Broadcast has been successfully terminated.